Good morning, everybody. These guys fitness here just for the thought of the day. So I've been probably spending more time on Facebook than I have in a while, and it kind of reminds me why I didn't spend so much time on it. So let's talk about misinformation. So we have this internet, we have the access to the most information that we've ever had in mankind's right at their fingerprint. I can type in something, I can pull up all sorts of information on it, I can do my own research, I can really deep dive into a lot of things. And you think this would be the greatest tool, and that we should actually be a very informed population. That's what you think what would happen. Now, I don't know if it's just because of laziness or because people wanted to sync with emotion and not with, logic and real facts, or we don't want to question things. So the biggest thing I've been seeing out there is, well, you don't question the science. How do you think science started? What made you think we started looking into things? We started questioning things. That's how science started. We started questioning the stars and the sun and the other planets. We started questioning the life around us. We started questioning how things were different, how relationships in nature worked. We questioned everything. And then we'd come up with ideas and we'd question that. And then we try to prove some of those ideas, and some we proved and some we didn't. We'd come up with called theories, all right? A theory is a guess that fits what we observed. Theories are not fact. They are guesses. The Big Bang Theory is a theory. Something that we're trying to come up with to explain some of the things that we have observed. But it's not a fact. Okay. Now, some things are fact. Grass is green, for the most part. We know that it uses photosynthesis to produce its energy and food. It takes in carbon dioxide, CO2. Sound familiar? And it produces food, and it releases oxygen, O2. Great for the planet, great for us. We take in oxygen for our blood, and we exhale CO2. Which the plants, hey, it seems to be a cycle going on here. So the biggest thing from the government wanting to spend your money is climate change. All right, the planet's going to freeze, the planet's going to cook, the planet's going to freeze, the planet's going to cook. Figure it out. And you have some scientists saying, well, you can't question the science. Absolutely, I can question the science. That's what science is we question things. All right, I know that CO2 was much higher in the past at times, and vegetation flourished. It has been lower in the past, and vegetation died off in areas. It's called change, and climate is always changing. But I see so many people, groups of people, just being a parrot to some information that was thrown out there that really has some basis in facts but draws the wrong conclusion. And then they take some things as, just undeniably a fact. Last 800,000 years, the CO2 content has been 280 parts per million, and now it's 410. Okay. Well, first of all, I'll challenge you on that, because I know our scientific methods for determining things have an error. There's a plus or minus. And sometimes we find out they're not as accurate as we thought they were. So pray tell me, how are you getting that CO2 from? We're getting from the rocks. And okay, what do the rocks consist of? Because the rocks don't absorb CO2. They might be made out of it, limestone, things like that. What do plant life? Well, 1,000 years ago, we had a lot of plant life here in America. Vast forest. Before then, we had an inland sea. All right, I would say 5,000 years ago, the whole planet was very well forested, except for the areas that were desert. So what's the best way of getting CO2 out of the atmosphere? Plants, trees. So a planet that is just nothing but forest in those arid areas that you can grow it in that, is absorbing a lot of CO2, releasing a lot of O2. So yeah, it probably was a little bit lower. So what have we done? Well, we've chopped down those forests to the greatest part. I mean, they're farming here because this used to be forest. Now, can you tell? Stop farming. Within 20 years, this will be forest again, all on its own. So you tell those people, well, if you're really concerned about the CO2, plant some trees, and you get the laughing emojis. Really? I mean, that's how to solve it. Have we helped a lot with our pollution? Absolutely. Is controlling pollution a good idea? Absolutely. But I would spend more time controlling the garbage that we throw in our waterways and the chemicals we put into our, there was a fish here, we put into our ground. To grow all this food, they're using weed killers. Well, that's getting into your water supply. There's no way it can't. We don't worry about that. We talk about climate change. Talk about wanting to go completely electrical. They're talking about gas stoves. Going to go all electric vehicles, which is not a good idea. I mean, electric vehicles are great for you doing short commutes. Long term, grid's not set up for it. They talk about things and they use these as a taxing, and then you say, well, wait a minute. Those electric vehicles are getting charged with nuclear power plants and coal-fired power plants. Well, we're going to get rid of them too. Okay, well, how are you going to charge things? We don't think. We stopped questioning. I've seen someone that I know personally post something from somebody else, and I sat there before I responded, I researched it, and it was false. All right? It's those stories that start spreading, and people start spreading them because it feels likely, but there is no facts behind it. And that's how we share so much misinformation, as we just see something that we feel should be right, so we repost it without looking at it. And then when somebody challenges it, people laugh at them. But what you should be doing is getting on the internet and looking into it. All right? Did I post something that was just false? It can happen. There are a lot of times where I was ready to sit there and repost it, and I said, well, let me pop it and see if this is true. And a lot of times it's not. People, I think some of them do it on purpose, who knows? If you throw enough misinformation out there, when the real information comes out, you're going to be suspicious of it. But yes, absolutely question the science. Always question the science. And when somebody tells you something different, question that too. And research it. Look at how subjects from 4 years ago are being treated now completely different. But 4 years ago, if you went against the science, you were ridiculed, you were called unsafe. It was like not too much, because that's what I was feeling like. I said I could understand how Nazi Germany happened. I can understand how these evil regimes got in power, because they fed people what they wanted to hear, and no one questioned it, or not enough people. So folks, stop falling for the meme and stop falling for the stories that the political parties put out there, trying to get you all emotional and everything, and start doing your own research. Okay, stop being a sheep and be more of a leader. Be more of the shepherd. Too many of y'all are just going along the ride because somebody who has a good narrative voice and is well known in the community, whatever, is telling you this is how you should think. And nobody should tell you, including me, should tell you how to think. All I ask is that you research it and pull the facts on your own and then make your own opinion on it. So that's my thought for today. Question the science, because that's what science is we ask questions and then we look for answers. Sometimes we get the right answer right, sometimes we don't. So we need to question it again. And do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. And you'll find out that 80% of the stuff you see on the internet is false and just designed to get you riled up. We all want clicks. Got to have those clicks. And that's my thought for today. Everyone, have a wonderful day.